We are live. Just kind of hang out here for a second and wait for some people to get in. It's actually
right.
pretty rare that I'm early. I'm usually running behind. So
Run late. I usually run late all the time. So don't
yeah. So you guys got is Monday a busy day for you at your job, or is it just another day pretty much?
Just about another day, really.
Yeah.
We tried to leave Friday where we can have something not easy but not be jam packed on Monday.
Yeah.
Usually, but sometimes it don't work out like that.
Yeah, we used to have at the post office, man. Saturday used to be like a real laid back, easy day.
Yeah.
And since there's so many people doing the Amazon thing.
Oh yeah, I guarantee you guys are slammed.
Yeah, it's like every day is the same day. It's crazy.
Yeah,
nonstop.
I bet you get a good workout in.
Yeah, I do. Most of my routes mounted now, but I've got probably like 5 blocks of walking.
Yeah,
and then just getting in and out of the truck. Many times delivering parcels. It's a pretty good workout for sure.
I guarantee it.
I like it, man.
First stop.
Yeah, I like being outside. I'm glad I don't have to be stuck indoors.
I couldn't sit in an office. Ain't no way.
I used to work nights, and that drove me crazy, man. I had like 6 months of nights out there at the processing center, and I couldn't stand it, man. It just drove me nuts. We got a few people rolling in here. We got Andy Leonard. He said he's watching from Western Kentucky. We got David said I always miss his last name. We got David in here. He said good evening. Got Gary Maynard from St. Louis. Brad Staley's in here. Phil Meyer. The ice is gone. Back to the lake. That's right, Phil. Phil's been having Phil just bought a new boat, and he's been having all kinds of electronic issues.
Well, that ain't no good.
No. Who over there in your area is good to look at electronics? Is there a marina or boat shop over there?
Ren Lake Sporting Goods, but I don't know if they look at anything or not. Really, I usually put all my own on.
Yeah. I told Phil we'd get together and I'd go have a look at his boat. A lot of times it's just something. I was talking to him the other day. It's just something. Just having it local or global. Sometimes it's just a push of a button that'll clear everything up for you.
Yep.
See, we got Aaron on here. Aaron says, Brennan, my niece, Emily Andrews. Andres.
Yep.
Okay. Got Ron on here. Stephanie on here. So let's just start out, man. Just this is the first time we met. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Man, I'm 24 from West Frankfort, and all I pretty much do is work, duck hunt, and bass fish every chance I get.
Living the dream.
Yep.
So what would you consider your home lake?
Ren. Yep. That's right. That's where I spend most of my time after, about April, after Egypt gets done.
Yeah. So is Ren, is it thawed out now?
I think there's still a little bit of ice left. It's probably gone now, but I know 2 days ago there was still a little bit, what I heard.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for cedar to thaw out. It's got to be close by now. I know that they said that you could get in at the north end, but I don't know about the Pomona side.
I was down to Gunnersville when all that cold weather hit, so I didn't know how bad it froze. It must have been cold if cedar froze.
Yeah, it was. I mean, everything was locked up. Have you got your phone like sitting this way?
Yeah, I got tall.
Can you turn it that way? Let's see what happens.
Is that better?
Yeah. Let me see what this. Yeah, there you go. That way, when I do that little divide, you got a kind of a wide view there. Yeah, it looks great. So let's talk about you fished the Toyota Series. Was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago?
2 weekends ago.
Yeah, down in Gunnersville.
Yep.
So, how'd you prepare for the Toyota Series?
Well, man, I've been down there 2 or 3 times previous, and the spots that I have fished with, guys I've been down there with before, they was pulling so much current that they wasn't on them. So it took me about 3 days, and I just started going fishing. Like anywhere near you'd go, and it took me 2 days, but I finally lucked onto some.
So they were pulling a lot of current then. It makes a big difference.
They were pulling like 85,000 CFS.
Dang.
So they were smoking some water.
Yeah. So how'd you approach that? Did you stay out in the river, or did you get off the main channel?
I had to get off the main channel a little bit. I mainly was just looking for current breaks, anywhere where they would set up where if the cold front did hit, they could pull back out. If they'd slowed the current down, or if it warmed up, they could slide up,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I looked for the whole time I was there.
Yeah, that's good that you've been there before, though. So you had some places. Did you have like one primary area, or did you have multiple places that you were catching fish in?
No, I only had two or three spots that I was catching fish in, and primarily I only caught, and one area paid off the most for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I caught all my fish there the first and the second days off one spot. The third day I had to bounce around to in between the 2 or 3 spots I had, and I ended up scrounging up a limit. And I caught one big one early, a little over 6 pounds, right at 6 pounds. So that kind of saved my day there.
Yeah. So how were you sitting at so let's go in to the first day or whatever. How did you feel comfortable out there? Were things going as planned, or did you have to, pivot and make an adjustment?
No, they weren't going to plan at all. I thought it was going to go as planned. I pulled up out of my first spot, and it was like 12 degrees or 13 degrees at takeoff. So
dang,
it wasn't too warm. Like my 8th or 10th cast, I lost. It was a big one, 5 or 6 pounder, and then I caught 3 keepers real quick, and I thought, well, maybe this, I can salvage my day. And I didn't catch another one until 1 o'clock. I caught 5 keepers. I had 6 keeper bites. Got 5 of them in. So,
jeez.
And I was gagging after the first day. I thought I blew it. So,
yeah. Well, you just got to stay in it sometimes. So the second day, how'd the second day go?
Oh, the second day went really good. I pulled straight up on my spot, and they same spot I was sitting the first day, and I wrecked them. It was pretty good. I caught, I don't know, about 30 to 35 keepers that second day.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, it got cloudy and the wind was blowing, and it warmed up, quite a bit. So I don't know if that moved them in or made them start biting or what, but they was definitely biting a lot better the first day or the second day than they was the first.
So do you usually are you a guy that spends a lot of time on the graph, like graphing, or do you just kind of pick an area and just start fishing?
I usually just pick an area and just put my head down and just start fishing till I fish real fast. I'll kick troll motor on 6, 7 and just go. But till I get a bite, and then I get a bite, I'll slow down, And I'm not a big graph guy. I never have been. I'll just find an area that looks good and just kind of start dissecting a little bit.
Yeah, that's a little bit old school in you, huh?
Yeah. I was brought up pretty much. My dad and my grandpa didn't really do much graphing or nothing. Wren Lake don't have more than about 12 foot of water in it, so just kind of go.
I know, dude. I've been out there. I've only fished Wren a few times, but I remember probably 2 years ago, I went out there, and it had been like 15, 20 years since I'd been on the lake, and I got to graphing around looking for stuff, and I think I just graphed a bunch of carp and trash fish out there offshore because I never could get anything to bite. And it seems like it's just straight up shallow deal over there at Wren Lake. I mean, is that what you find?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like we got little stretch of bushes we catch them out of, and then in the summertime it gets real hot and the water gets low. You go to the bridges and catch them on the bridges and bounce back and forth between flipping and some rocks. That's about all you do. I can go up there and I can probably get away with one rod all year if I really wanted to. But
yeah,
it's pretty simple fishing.
Boy, it's shallow though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
real shallow. Well, it's silting in real bad now. The last couple of years, it's starting to silt in pretty good. It's on the downhill slide.
Do you fish north a lot of the main bridge there?
Yeah, quite a bit. We fish all over.
Yeah,
we fish south, north. We fish everywhere.
Yeah,
But,
you know where to go, then know where to run, I guess.
yeah, for the most part. It gets a little sketchy in some places.
I bet. I'm trying to adjust this light a little bit here. T. Harris said he found a few sheds yesterday. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, Winning Edge Fishing wants to know what were you throwing at the Gunnersville tournament? What?
I caught mainly I caught all my fish just on a half ounce trap, a 1-knocker.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to catch them on a chatterbait, and I guess the water was just too little too cold for it. But I ended up catching one of my big ones on it the second day on the chatterbait, and I caught one on an A-rig the second day too. So
yeah, but the trap was
pretty much it. I weighed in 15, and I caught 13 of them on a trap. So
okay. Yeah, I'd say that was your go-to then.
that was the go-to bait.
So how'd the final day go? Same deal? Did you fish the same spots and stuff?
Yeah, I only fished 2 spots the final day, but it was about the same way as the first day. It started off real slow, and I think I only had 3 at 12:30, and we had to be in at 2:15. And I pulled up on a spot, and I caught 3 pretty good ones right there, back to back to back, and it was time to go. So it was a nail biter.
Mm-hmm.
About like normal. Nothing's ever really easy for me.
I'm the same way, man. It never works out like I plan on the drive over there. You think you got it all figured out, and once you get out there, it just gets real.
Yep, every time.
So guys out there in YouTube land, how's the audio sounding out there for you guys? I got a new microphone I'm working with. Does the video look decent? Audio sounding okay? I haven't heard anybody complaining, so I'm just assuming it's all good. So far, so good. So let's talk about okay. This is a question I've been getting a little bit, and I'm kind of wondering about this too. We've had a shad kill, like a really big shad kill this year. Just all these lakes have been iced over that haven't been iced over in forever. How do you think that affects the fishing? You think it makes it tougher? Think it makes it easier? Or?
Well, I don't think it's going to make it any easier, in my opinion. But I mean, yeah, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be good for any of these lakes around here. Yesterday at Egypt, we seen all sorts of dead bluegill and shad. There's everywhere. Everywhere you went, you seen 10 or 15 dead bluegill. I mean, good sized bluegill too. So I don't think it could be good.
Right. I think it'd be a little. We're fishing the Toyota series down at Lake of the Ozarks.
Are
Here
you?
in a couple of days, and it's been tough down there. They had a really big gizzard shad kill down there, and there's just big shad floating everywhere, and bite's been really tough. Starting to turn on a little bit today, but my buddy Mike's been down there since Saturday, and he said it's just brutally tough.
Really?
So, yeah, I think that my opinion is
I ain't never been down there.
You never been to Lake of the Ozarks?
Or I've been Lake of the Ozarks. I ain't never been Table Rock.
Oh, Table Rock. Yeah. My opinion is that you got so much bait in the water that's free for the pickings that, why would a bass take a jerkbait or an A-rig when they got the real stuff, right there. It just makes it tough.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they fill up. They gorge and they're full.
Well, it didn't seem to help it at Egypt yesterday.
Yeah, it was tough. Me and Ron fished Thursday. I was telling you earlier before we got on here, and it was real tough for us too. It seemed like if they weren't spread out at all. They were just in little tight areas. If you found the right spot, you could catch a few fish, but then there's a whole lot of dead water in between.
That's the way we was. We fished a bunch of water yesterday and never got a bite. But we caught 3 of our keepers there in like 20 yards and caught one about halfway down the lake. So the only 4 bites we really had.
Were you able to get back in any of the creeks?
We didn't go back in any of the creeks. It was pretty muddy yesterday. Like back in pockets and stuff, they had quite a bit of stain to them for down there.
Yeah, I think. How much rain did you guys get? Did you get an inch or two, or?
I want to say somebody said close to 3 inches, maybe.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Dang. No wonder. Somebody said they fished the super bass tournament on Rim back in the day. You remember the old super bass tournaments?
I've heard my dad and my grandpa talk about them.
Yeah. Yep. I got into those just right when I kind of started fishing tournaments. That was still going on.
Yeah,
so that's who got you into fishing, I guess, is your dad and your grandpa?
Oh yeah. They both of them really. We both fished a bunch together, and I didn't want to go. I'd rather be sitting at home on my video games. My dad, he drove me out of the house, made me go. So
it's good, dad.
Oh yeah.
I know. I try to do the same thing with my girls. You got to get them outside. I got this. Oh, go ahead.
I'm glad I wasn't sitting in the house all the time.
Yeah, no kidding. I got this little pond down here behind the house, and I snuck down there yesterday, and I made a cast, and I got hooked up with a fish, and then I'm 2 casts later I hooked up, and so I called my daughter. She was up here in the house. Yeah, and I was gonna have her come out and take the pole and catch the fish, and she didn't answer. She was too busy, so she just missed out on it. Everybody said it sounds good here.
Yeah, that's how I started riding 4-wheelers to all the neighbors' ponds, ripping up down the road.
Yeah, definitely. So, are you fishing? What all are you fishing this year? Are you fishing are you fishing all the Toyota series, like that whole division, or are you fishing multiple divisions? What do you got going on?
I'm fishing. I'm just going to fish the central divisions, I believe, this year, and then I'm going to try to fish all the Illini division BFLs, and then Angler's Choice and ITT. Just a couple of circuits around here. But I'm only going to fish one division of Toyota series this year, so.
Yeah, I hear you. You got that new baby, man. You got to stay close to the house.
Oh, I'm telling you, she's a handful.
Yeah, right. So when's the next Toyota Series tournament?
March 30th, I think, is the first day. Down at Del Hollow.
Del Hollow. You ever been to Del Hollow?
I went to fish the Toyota Series there last year, and fished a couple hours. My fuel rail went out on my motor, so I had to come home and I just transfer my money to a different tournament.
Yeah, that happens. In the BFLs, you're fishing, I guess, the Illini division. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah. That makes total sense. How's Ren been fishing the last year or two?
Man, the last couple of years, it ain't been too bad. Been catching. It depends, and in August and stuff, it gets tough just like everywhere else. But late in the year, it gets really good. I think we won the last Angler's Choice over there, and it was November 14th, and we had right at 18 pounds. And I mean, it takes about 15 to 17 pounds to win about every tournament over there. It seems like.
That's good. Sounds like it looks pretty healthy then.
Yeah, it's not doing bad. It's doing a lot better than what it used to be, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tom Mix says all the power plant lakes are going to suffer the first year or two of being shut down. What do you have an opinion on that? You think that's true?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the results from Caffeine and Newton, they ain't like what they used to be. And they, I guess it's Newton's second year being shut down, and Caffeine's been shut down for 3 or 4 years, but they've declined pretty heavily, it seems like.
Yeah, I know. I'm curious to see how Egypt turns out. I got this feeling that Egypt's gonna fin better than some of those other lakes.
Well, I hope that's the case. It gets so much fishing pressure in the summer,
Yeah, that lake is hammered. It just seems like you can always scrounge up a bite somewhere.
Oh yeah. You can always put a shaky head on and go catch something.
That's right. That is right. Dumford Outdoor says he's fishing the BFL on Kentucky Lake this weekend as a co-angler. Apparently they had a big shad kill as well, and now they have a bunch of flooding going on. I'm definitely expecting it to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially a lake like that that goes up and down, and those fish, they like it to stabilize a little bit before they start moving back.
Sure. Yeah, I seen somebody posted, said they had every floodgate open below Kentucky.
Jeez.
I'd say they're smoking some water.
Yeah, them guys that know where to be at can catch them though.
Oh yeah.
You find that right little break.
Mm-hmm.
DJ says he finally got some of the Sunline FC with the high vis yellow markers M2 was talking about. So Mike Marfa. Yeah, the Sunline flipping line. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it's pretty good stuff. You had a line of choice?
Yeah, I've been throwing Yozuri's new fluorocarbon, and I'm liking it quite a bit right now. So I'm gonna stay with it for a little bit. But
yeah,
so far I haven't had any complaints at all. I really like it.
I have to check it out. I used to fit. I've had some Yozuri line in the past, it seemed like it's pretty good stuff.
I just got on with them guys a couple weeks ago, and they mailed me some, and I really like it. It's doing pretty good so far.
Good deal. So they've got they carry like they carry several different kinds of line, if I remember right. They've got some hybrid stuff too.
Yeah, I think they got some hybrid, and they got some top knot, and I ain't tried any. They got some super braid, I think is what it's called, and I ain't tried any of the monofilament yet.
Mm-hmm. I don't fish mono much anymore either.
I don't either. It's either braid or fluorocarbon for me.
Yeah. Even occasionally on a Carolina rig, I'll tie a mono leader,
Yeah.
But there's times when I do, times that I don't.
Sure.
Top water, I'm just straight to braid, even on a walking bait. I mean, I know people complain about, the braid getting caught up in the hooks and stuff, but I really haven't had that problem.
No, I ain't neither. I usually just throw 20 or 30 pounds, and I ain't had any problems at all.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. If you guys got any questions on here, get them up here if you don't mind. Let's see. Stephanie says, I'd rather fish with it being tough than not fish at all. Man, that's true.
Yep. I hear you there.
Yeah, Ron says Egypt needs more grass to come back in the lake. It actually, the end of this year, I was starting to notice some pretty decent grass mats and stuff. It seems like the grass was kind of rebounding a little bit.
Yeah, there a couple of years ago, all them homeowners down there was dragging it out and spraying all of it. So, I mean, all this doing is just killing the habitat for all the fish,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. But at the same time, man, being a fisherman, I don't get it. And
sure.
I know it's one of the big problems with Kentucky Lake. They lost all that grass several years ago, and once you kill that stuff, it takes a long time for it to get going again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember when I was little going down to Egypt, and it just grass everywhere. And now it's here or there, and where it used to grow, it don't grow. So.
Yeah, no kidding, man. And even cedar back, well, I don't know. Like I hear guys back 15 years ago, cedar didn't have a whole lot of grass, and it's really got grass now for sure.
Yeah, that's what I heard. We went over there and fished a little club deal last year, and man, that place is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into the All-American, man. I was thinking about this, so I'm gonna try to break this down on how you get to the All-American and how big of a challenge it is. I was thinking about this today while I was delivering mail. So the All-American, okay, is through the BFLs. and it used to be FLW, and then MLF bought out FLW, so now it's part of the Big Five. And I think you got 25 divisions in the BFLs, so there's about 10,000 anglers roughly. Okay, so you got 25 divisions, and each division takes 45. It's the top 50, but if you win a tournament, you automatically make it to the regionals. But most of the time, the winner is in that top 50 points. So they take the top 50 to the regional. Okay, so you've got, I don't know how many regionals you have, but I know there's typically like 4 to 5 divisions maybe in a regional.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got roughly like 180 to 200 people fishing each regional. And it just depends. It just depends on how many people, want to fish. And they don't usually try to get to 200. They just try to get everybody matched up, like the boaters and the coves matched up. So you've got those regionals, and then those are 2 days. Everybody fishes 2 days in the regional. And then they take the top 12 to fish the third day, and the top 6 of the third day of the regional make it to the All-American. So, and then they've got a wild card. So if you fish at least 2 tournaments and pay for the remaining 3, you're eligible for the wild card. Or if you've fished all 5, or some combination of that. Basically, if you don't make the top 50 and you've paid for all the tournaments one way or another, you can fish the wild card. And then the wild card's kind of like the same thing. It's a 2-day guarantee, if I remember right. And then the third day, they cut it down to 12, and then the top 6 make it to the All-American. Yep. So basically, just to get to the All-American is huge. And in my opinion, it's one of the toughest tournaments to make, let alone win. You're starting out with like 10,000 anglers, and basically there's I don't like less than 50 that make it to the All-American each year. I don't know what the number is, and do you remember how many people made it to the All-American you fished?
I want to say I think there was 50 in it, I believe, but right around 50.
Okay. Yeah, it's so you're going from 10,000 to 50. I mean, it's
I think they take like 40 something from like the MLF, and then they take 1 or 2 from the TBF, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, there's some side stuff that comes in there too.
Yep.
So let's talk about that. I guess you qualified through the Illini division of the BFLs?
Yeah. I qualified to go to the regional at Chick, and went down to Chick and got lucky. I think I ended up getting trophies over there. I think I ended up getting 3rd at the regional. Nice. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big deal. I was just, I felt accomplished just even making it at such a young age, and then go out there and to win it. It took a couple months to sink in.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. So let's talk a little bit about Chick. You obviously fished 3 days down there. Is that a place that you've got some experience at before the regional?
No, that was the first time I ever been down there, was when I went down there for the regional.
Nice.
And it was about the same way. I just picked an area of the river and just started fishing. And I took 4 or 5 days off work and went down there and practiced. And the last evening, I found a spot, and I caught a 6 and a 5 off of it right before dark, and pulled up there the first day and caught them all 3 days right there. Never moved the boat hardly.
Sounds like you're pretty good at landing on the right spot.
Yeah, it'll take me a lot of stress and a lot of time, but I'll luck into something usually.
So that sounds like that's kind of so when you get in an area and you get that feel that there's fish in there, you picking it apart for the most part?
Yeah, pretty much. That deal at Gunnersville, I put a Helix 10 and a 360, a Mega 360 on my trolling motor 2 days before I went down there. And, it took me a couple of days figuring out how to get it cleared up. Once I found them fish, I started, watching that 360 and paying attention to it. And I could watch it move in and move out. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So you caught a lot of your fish off the 360 then?
What's that?
Did you catch a lot of your fish with strictly using the 360?
Yeah, I caught several.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, I hadn't been in a boat with 360, obviously, or honestly, until just a couple weeks ago. I'd been with the live scope several times, but I think they're both,
Yeah,
I don't know, they both got their time and place for sure.
yeah. I just put a live scope on my boat right after I got back from the Toyota series, and I figured I probably won't use both of them at the same time. But if if it comes where I need either one of them, I got them just in case. So.
That's nice, man. You're ready to go. I mean, you got to do them, tournament fishing nowadays. It's just another tool. And the bigger, the higher up in the tournaments you go, I mean, the more of a disadvantage it is, because everybody's got it.
Yeah, everybody's pretty much got the best.
Nope, we lost you. He's out in the country. He's got a bad connection. Let me go ahead. Let me send him a text and just tell him to hit that link again. He'll probably go ahead and hit it anyway. So guys, while we're in this spot, go ahead and hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. There's Brennan right here. We'll get him back in. Let me see here. Hey, we got you back, man.
Yeah, I lost you.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying you're out in the country. You got kind of spotty reception. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So back to the All-American. So you qualified through the regional at Chickamauga, and then how was that? I mean, I've heard they treat you like royalty. What kind of experience did you have even before the tournament?
Oh, it was unbelievable. Really, I've always heard about it. They say it treats you like king when you go out there, and that they do. I mean, you get out there to practice, and you go to the boat yard, and they got your boat filled up and gassed up, and they got your lunch made, and they back you in. It's pretty neat experience.
That's awesome. So Aaron Wetzel has a question. He said, how did winning the All-American change your life, both personally and as an angler, and what kind of fishing opportunities were opened?
Oh man, it changed my life as a fisherman pretty good. I mean, my confidence level got up. That's probably the main thing it's changed, just being confident and feeling like you can compete against them guys and stuff. But as far as like fishing opportunities and stuff, I mean, nothing's really changed. I mean, it's still the same as it was before. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a few. I've had a few people call and that are helping me out, stuff like that, but nothing real major yet.
Yeah, that's cool. That definitely is a confidence booster. Got a good taste for it.
Yep.
So then you, okay, so we were talking about before the tournament and how they treat you really good. Did they put you up in a place to stay, the meals? What all came along with that?
Yeah, they put me and my family up in a hotel free of charge, and they had dinner for it. It was a pretty cool deal. About anything you can think of, they had it there for you.
Nice. So how many days of practice do you get on those?
We got 2, I believe. Two 2 full days.
And are you fishing? You qualified as a boat, or do you on practice day? Are you set up with another co-angler, or you just go out by yourself?
Yeah, you're set up with your first day co-angler. So all the boaters will practice with their co-angler for the first day.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat deal, and that's why I like fishing the BFL so much. Just because I've met lifelong friends that I'll would have never met if I wasn't fishing with FLW.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. And the more you fish on, the more you start seeing the same group of guys there, and you kind of spread out, and it's fun, man. It's like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Bass
I
guy
guys text me all the time.
Yeah, it's cool. I enjoy the camaraderie. Bass Guy 1960 says, "What club do you fish out of?" I guess locally.
I'm not really in a club. I just fish a lot of Angler's Choice at tournament circuit here, Line Eye Team Trail, and FLW. That's pretty much the 3 circuits I fish.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a bass club here in town, and they don't do it no more. So
Yeah, those bass clubs they get kind of finicky sometimes. We used to have a couple bass clubs here in Cape, bigger boat clubs, and they've all kind of bickering and stuff, and everything got busted up, so they're no longer around. But Aaron Wetzel says there's 24 BFL divisions, 6 regional tournaments with 4 divisions per regional.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So talk about the first day. Like, how did you approach the All-American? Had you ever? First of all, where was it at?
It was at the Potomac River.
Potomac River.
Yep.
And had you been up there before?
Nope. Well, I went out there the weekend before the first day. Me and my buddy went out there and practiced for I think 2 days, and then drove home. And it was, be honest with you, I mean, I found them fish. We went out there and practiced. That place is, you think Kentucky Lake big, that place is huge. And we just kind of ran around the river and fished a little bit. And there was a guy that fishes down at the Ohio River, called me and asked if I was out there. And I said, yeah. He said, well, I've been out there for the PVA several times. He said, you may want to go check this area out. And went in there, and it was about the same deal. I got a bite and kind of just picked that area apart. It was that creek we took off of, and I stayed in there for all 3 days, never left.
Nice. Stephanie wants to know, do the co-anglers fish all the tournament days if they qualify, including going to the All-American?
Yes.
Yeah, Stephanie. The co-anglers are with the boaters. There's always a co-angler in the boat with a boater. So in the qualifying tournaments, you're going to have a co-angler and a boater together, and they got to match up all the way through the All-American. Andy Leonard wants to know, where did you fish at on Chick, if you don't mind me asking?
I fished down by the dam on South End.
There you go. Let's see. Just kind of having a look at these comments here. So how was it running up there on the Potomac River? Was the water up, or was it sketchy, or?
Well, it fluctuated so much with the tide. It would come up, on a high tide, it'd be about 2 foot lower than or higher than it would be on a low tide. So, which that tidal deal was kind of different for me at first, but I quit trying to follow the tides. A lot of guys would run down the river and try to follow the tide up the river, so that way they weren't fishing a high or a low tide. They fishing the same tide all the way up. And I just picked an area and found some fish. Just kind of, when the low tide hit, I'd move out with them. Then I'd just work back up with a high tide.
Yeah. So you just, like you said, you just found an area and you learned how to adapt to the conditions in the area.
Yep.
Makes total sense.
It's pretty cool though, because that tidal stuff, it seemed like, you only had a certain period where they weren't biting whenever the tide level out. But, when the tide was dropping out, they was biting. When it was coming up, they was biting. It was pretty neat.
Is that the first time you'd ever fished tidal water?
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool. Dunford Outdoor says, great stuff tonight. Seems like the guys who can catch them from Southern Illinois succeed at a higher level. He says Brennon McCord, Trevor McKinney, Chad Morgan Taylor. Oh, I was actually messaging Chad Morgan Taylor earlier today, and he said, tell you what's up.
Yep. I need to message him. I ain't talked to him in a long time.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty good dude.
Oh yeah, he is. Well, they used to he used to host a tournament at Wren Lake every fall.
Really?
It was like a Special Olympics deal, and it used to be a big turnout. It was a fun tournament.
Yeah, I like those tournaments like that, the fundraiser type tournaments.
Yeah, I was little. I need to send him a picture. I still got his yellow and red jersey my dad bought me up there at a raffle.
Yeah. I used to fish. You remember over there on well, they may still have it, but on Devil's Kitchen, the Little Egypt Bass Club used to have that yearly deal over there.
Yeah.
2-day
They
tournament.
give away like a John boat or something for first place.
Yeah, and I think it was Special Olympics or somebody. It was a charity fundraiser type thing.
Yeah, I've never fished it. I can't remember what it was. I've heard a lot of guys talk about it though.
That was like a 12-inch limit.
Yep.
And it was hard to catch 7 or 8 12 inches over there.
Yeah.
It was tough. There's so many small fish in that lake.
I've never fished there. I've always heard stories just like that, so I stay away.
Yeah, it seems like you either catch a 6 to 10 pounder or you catch like a 13-incher or 11 to 13-incher. It's crazy.
Do you fish cedar quite a bit?
Yeah, I do. That's probably the lake I tend to go to the most because I live in Jackson, but it's only about an hour away.
Yeah.
So to get to Egypt's about an hour and 15. Get to Grassy and Devil's Kitchen's an hour and 15.
Sure.
So I usually just stop at Cedar, and it's a great lake, man.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Cedar than Egypt any day of the week.
Yeah, well, you don't have to deal with bigger boats. You know,
Sure.
There's no pleasure boaters running around there. You got all that grass.
Yeah.
And, I tell you what, it was a little bit different this year because of the COVID thing. There were so many more people out there, and there's been an influx in kayaks.
Really?
Like a lot of people are fishing out of kayaks now. So all that shallow stuff has just really been getting hammered by those kayakers. They can float right up there and get as shallow as they want. They can go anywhere they want. And them shallow fish that is a little bit tougher this year for me anyway.
We fished, like I said, we fished a little club deal over there. I think that was in April. And we just flipped the jig and threw a chatterbait just all around. We didn't have no weight. We caught a bunch of 3-pounders, but we caught plenty of fish. It was a pretty fun day.
I think it's one of the best. To me, it's probably, I don't want to say it's the best, but it's definitely one of the best lakes in Southern Illinois as far as numbers of good fish.
I would say there, and the Kincaid's, been producing quite a bit.
Yeah. Kincaid's been fishing real good.
I'd say those are probably the top 2 Southern Illinois lakes right now.
Yeah, and you see the commonality is grass.
Yeah. Yep. And, like Egypt, that place used to be really good. And then grass, like Ron said earlier, the grass just ain't there. It's dying, slowly dying out, and it's killing the fishing, I think. Yeah,
it's hard to catch a 5-pounder is a pretty good solid fish over there at Egypt now.
No, yeah. You catch 5-pounder and 3 overs, you're gonna have a pretty good shot at winning. Usually.
That's right. Just about any tournament for sure.
And that's how it is over there now. I mean, whenever the bite's good, it's whoever has a 5 or 6-pounder wins. Everybody's got 8 to 11 pounds, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. Winning Edge Fishing wants to know, would you characterize yourself as a power or a finesse fisherman?
Oh, power fisherman for sure. That's my favorite. I like zinging a chatterbait and flipping a jig, and I kick the trolling motor on high and go.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I know we had Trevor McKinney on here about a month ago, and he's definitely a shallow power fisherman for sure.
Yeah. Well, pretty much all, I would say everybody, but a lot of guys from Southern Illinois are like that. They, that's how we grew up fishing, shallow.
Yeah, well, and being around Wren, definitely be shallow. Stephanie wants to know, what is the cost to fish the English Choice?
Oh man, I've paid that thing so many times I can't remember. I want to say it's $100 a piece, I think, or it's either $80 or $100 a piece, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 80. I think it used to be $150 a team, and it might have went up a little bit. Yep. And then I think it's like a $50 annual membership.
Yep,
something like that.
I think it's like $20 extra if you want to get the side pot.
That's right. Yeah. Ron wants to know, how long of a drive was it up there to the Potomac?
Oh boy, I think it was, without traffic, it was like 15 hours.
Golly. Jeez.
It was a haul.
Yeah. So talk a little bit more about the All-American. So you found this area, and
Yep.
you were kind of committed to it, and you noticed the only time you weren't getting bit was on that's low tide, I guess is what you said, or
Yeah, like there was two times whenever the tide would drop all the way out. It would kind of crest for 30 minutes. It seemed like, or an hour, and then the tide start coming back up, and it's worked its way up its river, and it would take you a little bit to see it, but once it start coming up, they'd start biting, and whenever it got to the high tide and it was switching to dropping low, that it would seem like they would quit biting a little bit. So anytime there wasn't water moving, it was kind of a lull time, seemed like, for me anyways.
yeah, right. Okay, gotcha. So what did you stick with your guns, or did you try to change up and or did you try to finesse them or anything when the water was slack?
Well, I caught two the second day that or no, that was the last day. I caught two the last day on a wacky rig. The tide come up, slacked off, and I was fishing a little boat ramp right there. I tied on a wacky rig and caught two keepers, and I ended up calling them out, but it was a big confidence deal for me. I instead of having one, I had three, and then I thought, well, I only got to catch two big ones, and if somebody slipped, I could have a good shot. And the tide started falling out real hard, and I went up the creek from where I was at. And there was a little pocket, and it had two ditches running out. Well, on low tide, all them shad would push out with them ditches. There'd be an eddy right there, and I pulled in there and was fishing some lily pads, and I caught them. Well, I caught two over 4 and one about 3.5 right there in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
That definitely saved the tournament there.
Heck yeah. Sean wants to know, what are some key areas you look for when fishing a river system?
Well, to me, I look for current, current breaks and grass. Like, you go to Gunnersville, there's grass everywhere you go on the lake. So me, I try to find areas that's got different types of grass, or don't have any grass, or there's holes in the grass. Just something just a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah. And then current breaks, that's a big thing on the river systems, like Smithland Pool. If you're fishing out in the main river, you just want to be looking for any kind of current break that holds those fish. They can sit in that slack water, and if bait's moving by, they can rush out there and grab it. Or if they're sitting behind a stump, or just anything that's blocking the current, they still got easy access to things that are coming by that they want to eat.
Yeah, and they're pretty special too. I mean, you could fish 15 of them and not, catch one or two, and then pull up on one and catch 25 pounds and 5 casts. And it's especially on the Tennessee River. It's frustrating for a little bit, but if you find them, it's pretty special.
They're like brush piles, kind of. I mean, you can fish 20, 30 brush piles and not get bit, and then just pull up on the right one.
Yep.
And you got to check them. Check them a couple times a day.
I mean, you could fish one at 9 o'clock and pull back up there and not have a bite, and pull back up there at lunch and catch 2 5-pounders out of it. It's weird to me. But that's what I normally do when I go to the river. I just kind of look for either current breaks or just something that not everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Well, what are some of your debates that you like to do, or like that you fish a lot in a river system?
Well, it depends. Like, you go to Chick or Gunnersville or something like that, it depends if the grass is topped out. I'll punch and throw a frog and a swim bait or chatterbait quite a bit. But you go to like Smithland or below Kentucky, where there's a bunch of rocks, I'll just get in them current breaks and just throw a finesse jig or a shaky hit or a drop shot, and just sit there and wait on it to bite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dave has a question. His question is, Brennan, do you have any suggestions for me to convince my 15-year-old to join Crab Orchard High School's fishing team? The kid can flat fish, but is nervous about doing it.
Yeah, I used to be the same way. I used to be real, I still kind of am. I get shy and stuff, but I'm starting to get a lot better at it. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what started me. I tournament fished a bunch before I got in high school, but me and Trevor fished against each other a lot in high school, and that kind of sparked the competitive edge of wanting me to do a lot better. And I hate saying it, but you know, I mean, you can't worry about what other people think about you or be nervous about doing anything. You just gotta go. You just gotta go do what you want to do and make sure yourself's happy. You know.
Man, that's true. That's words of wisdom right there. It's hard. It's hard to know that and to trust that when you're young. But
Yeah.
as you get older, you look back at how you felt in a time of uncertainty, and now you think about how silly that was to feel that way. You
Yep.
know. But a lot of times you got to go through that experience and come out on the other side to get some confidence.
Sure.
And then you just grow from it.
Yep.
I think we were talking about having a kid, and man, that right there will teach you a lot about yourself and teach you about what really matters and what doesn't.
Yep.
You know,
for sure. I mean, that since we had our little girl, I don't really care what happens as long as she's all right and taken care of. You know what I mean? I could sell my boat and all my stuff and not ever fish a day of my life as long as she's taken care of. That's all I really care about.
Yeah. The first time you have to change a diaper, you know, all that other stuff kind of goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the first one that's number 2.
Oh man, I'll tell you what.
It's fun.
Let's see what else we got on here. Let's see. So Casey Forster says Angler's Choice is $40 for membership and $160, I believe, for each tournament.
Yeah, that sounds, it's somewhere in there.
Yeah. I was thinking it was $150, but I thought that it did go up just a little bit.
Oh, it's always different. Me and I fish with a guy named Mark O'Brien from Carterville, and we always get in big debates on who paid more the last time and who paid more this time. So we just kind of give each other money, and whoever goes up there and pays.
Yeah. Well, that's how me and my tournament partner Jerry, we have an envelope, and all our winnings go in an envelope that we win together, and we split it up. He's got one envelope in his truck, and I got one envelope in my truck. And our whole goal is to make enough money for the season so that we don't have to pay anything out of pocket. Like, as long as all our entry fees go out of that envelope, we're having fun and we're doing good.
That's right.
And so far, we got enough in there for next season. So
heck yeah, that's always nice when you ain't got to worry about scraping up money for entry fees.
Yeah, it is. It makes it really, really nice. Let's see here. Just checking these questions here to see if we missed any. So back to the All-American here. We're going to bounce around on that for just a little bit more. You talked a little bit about the third day, and by the way, I was looking at the top 10 in that tournament, and you had Brian New in there.
Oh yeah,
and you had Troy Morrow. So you were fishing against some hammers, man.
Oh yeah, I mean there was that whole top 10 was pretty stacked. You know, my buddy, like I told you earlier, I met some lifelong friends. Doug Ruster, he was in the top 10. He's from Indiana. Me and him met out there, and he's a pretty good stick too. I mean, it was pretty stacked, especially Brian New. I mean, he's one of the hottest commodities in bass fishing right now. You know, the guy's unstoppable, it seems like. So
yeah,
I was very fortunate, and after I won that deal, I come home and kind of took some time. Me and my wife kind of hung out for a little bit, and it took me a while to sink in on some of the big names that I beat, and it just took a little bit to sink in.
Oh, I would imagine. I mean, that's a great accomplishment. So back to that third day, how did that go? Did it start out like I think you touched on it again, but walk us through that. So you're heading out in the morning. How are you feeling? I mean, it's been a little bit ago. Can you still remember were you nervous? Did you feel confident? Just kind of.
No, man, it was weird. My dad, my wife, and some of my family drove out, and they were at the dock, and my dad asked me. He said, "What do you think you're going to do today?" I said, "I'm going to win this tournament, I think." And he goes, "You think so?" I said, "Yeah, I'm on him. I think I think I catch 17 or 18 pounds pretty easy." And man, it was weird. That camera got in my boat, and it was like everything just went away, and I was comfortable. And things was just jiving. It. You know, everybody always says whenever it's your time, and it's true because I couldn't do nothing wrong. The third day I started on my area and about 20 minutes in, I caught a 5-pounder. I thought, well, this is going to be pretty good. Then I caught another keeper, and then it was about noon, and I didn't have another bite. And I ran back there to that boat ramp and caught 2 keepers off of it. Then that tide started dropping out, so I went back in the river. I had some creek, and I had to fish back up in the creek about 30 minutes, and I idled back there and pulled in that little pocket and caught them 3 big ones right there, and that pretty much sealed the deal, for the last day.
So you felt once you got that 5th keeper in the boat, you felt pretty confident that you had the weight you needed?
I didn't know I had the weight I needed, but I knew I was going to be knocking on the door of, Joe Thompson. He's led every day, but I knew I was going to be close. And he caught him 3 days in a row, and I knew that he was real. I could tell, on the dock, he was real nervous, and I was just waiting on him to slip up. Was all I was waiting on.
Did you have anybody else in your area?
No, I don't think I've seen but one tournament boat all week. I think the whole tournament. I mean, there wasn't hardly anybody back there. I just stayed in the same creek where we were fishing, and I had pretty much all to myself.
So you're coming back to the weigh-in with a nice sack in the boat, and you pull in, and you're still feeling pretty confident. You get up on stage. Were you? I guess what I'm getting at is what was your weigh-in? There was one flight, right? The last day.
Yep.
And how did that go? Did they do they have a hot seat up there, and in the winter the guy that's leading sits on the hot seat, or how's that work?
Yeah, they had a hot seat system set up, and I kind of had a good idea that I had enough to win, because we was all sitting there at the tanks while they had to have their weigh-ins 2 hours long or whatever, and we were all talking, and the guy that was leading come back there and opened up my bag, and he said, "Well, you got me. Congratulations." And he got up there, and I started looking at his fish going in the bag, and I was sitting in the hot seat, and it kind of all hit me there at once. I was like, holy crap, I just won the All-American.
Yeah, but until you throw them suckers on the scale, man, you just don't know, though.
No, heck no. I mean, I was looking at 15-inch fish, and I thought, oh, that thing may be 4 pounds, it may be 2. I don't know. I was so nervous. At the end of the day, I'd have been tickled to death with second, you know what I mean? But it was just my time, and everything lined up right.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is really, really cool. So what'd you catch your fish on? We'll talk about that a little bit.
I caught everything I weighed in on a 1/2 ounce jackhammer, except for, I end up calling them ones out on a wacky rig. So I weighed in everything I had on the jackhammer.
Okay. And that was Jackhammer wasn't quite as popular yet, was it? Or
it was just starting to get real big, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like the Jackhammer just because I can skip it a lot better than other chatterbaits. It seems like the head skips a lot better for me, and that's all I threw the whole tournament. I mean, I was fishing some, I just had a couple hydrilla beds I was fishing, and then when the tide would drop out, underneath them pads that you'd have a foot or two underneath them the tops of them pads, and it was all shaded up underneath there. Well, it'd make a little turn or a little point. Well, then fish would sit up underneath that shade when the tide would drop out, and it was just like a current break. There'd be a current coming out of a ditch, and they'd be sitting there in them pads in the shade, and the easy meal is swimming right in their mouth, basically. So it was a pretty cool fishery, and it's loaded with fish.
Yeah, I've watched a few tournaments there, and I know it's a frog is something you definitely want to have at certain times of the year, especially in the fall.
I think the year we went, all the locals were saying most of the grass was ripped out from the freeze the winter before, and it didn't seem like there was as much grass. I idled a bunch of spots on the river, and you'd idle 3 miles, and then bam, there'd be a patch the size of your house, and then there wouldn't be a patch for another mile. So.
Oh man!
And I think that was a big part of me staying right there and at takeoff kind of was there was a lot of grass in that creek compared to anywhere else on the river.
Yeah. Andy Leonard wants to know, what is your favorite color jackhammer?
Just depends, but it's hard to on the watercolor, but it's hard to beat black and blue anywhere you go. I'd say 90% of the time I throw black and blue.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite colors too. What do you think about the red chatterbait? You throw that around much?
Well, I threw my first one at Gunnersville, and I ain't really got to throw it much yet, but I bought 4 or 5 of them. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit.
Yeah, same here, man. I bought one of the. Still got it in the bag here. Pull it out. I bought it. It wasn't the Jackhammer. I just bought the Elite.
Yep.
Which that's a really good chatterbait. I've had got it in here somewhere. Have you had any problems with the Jackhammers, like the snap on them, bending out or anything on you?
No, not yet. The only problem I've had with them is seems like the paint will come off the blade pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, I've had a snap problem with them, and then I've had like the skirt kind of falling apart on me.
Really?
So, yeah. And I don't know. In my opinion, you spend $16 on a chatterbait.
Yeah, it should fall apart.
No. So this is, folks at home, that's that fire crawl color that just got really, really popular last year. And I'm like you, Brennan. I've always been totally content with the black and blue and stained water.
Yep.
And I bought a couple of these the other day. So I haven't thrown them either. It's going to be my first year throwing them. But that Elite has it's got that wire tie. Mm-hmm. It's not a snap. It's, which sure. In my opinion, I think that's a better system right there. You don't have to worry about it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems out of the snaps yet, knock on wood. But I'll keep that in mind for sure. I hope I ain't got no problems with it.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll be fine. And I tell you what, they're hard. It's hard to get a snap. They're hard to replace.
Sure.
The little holes that they've got in there are spaced out just perfectly for the snap. So you almost got to cut it out and try to finagle another one in there.
Sure.
It's a lot of work. So what kind of trailers do you typically like on your chatterbaits?
Well, it just depends. If I'm in shallow water, I try to throw a 1/2 ounce most of the time, just because I can control what part of the water column's in with the speed of my reel. Like if I'm in real shallow water, like I got some right here. I'll use something like this Zoom, just like a heavy trailer. It's got some legs on it, just to keep it higher up in the water column.
That a Z-crawl?
Yeah, it's a Z-crawl, I believe. It's
yeah.
I think that's one of the hop crawls or whatever color it is. But like like down at Gunnersville, like I throw that Zaco quite a bit, just because I can keep it down the water column a lot more consistent than I could with that Z-crawl or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Z-crawl is a pretty good one. I like I'll throw just a Zoom speed crawl too is another good one that works pretty good. A fluke is another one. You can really put a lot of stuff. A little the Reaction Innovations Little Dipper, just a little small.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
It really is. You just don't.
I play around with them. Like if I'm fishing grass, I like throwing that Zaco or like a Menace or something of that nature, just so I can keep it kind of down consistent right on top of the grass. So like that Z-crawl is, if you're fishing 5 or 6 foot of water, that trailer's so heavy, it's going to keep coming up and down, up and down.
Right. And then if you want to fish it a little bit deeper, then you put your Zaco or your fluke or something on there.
Yep.
Yeah. So same thing with the swim jig, the same kind of hydrodynamics on a swim jig with your trailers and stuff,
Sure.
Some kind of crawl that's got a lot of flat area on the bottom is going to keep your bait up a little bit higher. And then if you want to go deeper, a swim bait's pretty much the way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I throw a chatterbait pretty much all year. I got one tied on every tournament. I mean, to me, it's it's so versatile. I mean, you can fish wood with it, rocks, grass, deep, shallow. And I pretty much catch fish on it all year. Anywhere I go, it seems like it's a confidence thing for me.
Yeah. So what are your when do you think it starts getting good in the spring, and when do you think it kind of goes away in the late fall to the winter? Is there like a water temp that you look at, or is it just depending on what you're seeing on your graphs and stuff?
It depends what I like. I think that chatterbait bite's probably the best in the, from 52 to 50, 52 to 60 degrees, in my opinion. I think that's probably the best. Whenever I'll pick it up and throw it all day. That's kind of like my water temperature deal. But as far as that goes, I mean, after the spawn, in the summer and it gets real hot, I mean, I like throwing it. The hotter the water, the better for me, I think. And then, the water temperature will, boost their metabolism up, and it's a reaction deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure. And probably they're not seeing, I mean, they see it a lot in the spring, and then after the spawn, they'll see it a little bit. But then typically in that really hot water, a lot of guys will go to a square bill, or they'll start flipping a jig, or, going to like the soft plastics thing. And that's what's cool about what's cool about having confidence in a certain bait and fishing it almost all season long, is there's natural inflections where a lot of people will be fishing that bait at a certain time period, and then it'll kind of go away, and you almost have it all to yourself for a little while.
Yeah. And there's times where, I've gone down a bank before where guys are, throwing spinner baits and stuff down lay downs or stumps or whatever. And me and my partner pulling behind them, throwing a chatterbait, and it seems like we'll catch, 5 or 6 fish behind them. So I don't know if, everybody gets away from the chatterbait, like you said, once the spawn's over, or what, but it's just the confidence deal for me.
Yeah, definitely. We've had times where, like, I'm thinking of cedar. You go back in a creek in the middle of the summer, and through a swim, I'm thinking of one tournament. We were back in this creek, and we were fishing a little hole in the grass, and I just had a feeling that there should be some fish in there. And I threw a toad through them, threw a frog, swim jig. We threw a little spinner bait. Couldn't get bit down through this whole area. And my buddy Jerry was throwing I think it was a 1/4 ounce white chatterbait.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, he hooked up. Boom, he hooked up. And these fish were in an area probably 20 yards. 20 by 20 yards in kind of a hole in some grass. And so he catches 2 on that chatterbait. I throw a swim jig in there, a white swim jig, same colors as chatterbait. He wouldn't touch it. He catches another one. I'm throwing like a top water. I don't know if it's a baby spook or something. They wouldn't touch it. Catches another one. So they were so tuned in on that little chatterbait, in the middle of the summer. And I hadn't picked up a chatterbait for a couple months. I'd been throwing a swim jig or spinnerbait.
Sure. Well, I've caught several fish, fishing the rocks up at Wren Lake. Just the first time I ever caught one, me and my dad was fishing a bridge, and I had one tied on. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and just cast this chatterbait out there and get it hang up, break it off, just tie a jig on. Let it hit the bottom, started yo-yoing, and I caught one pushing 6 pounds. And I said, well, I'm going to start throwing this chatterbait a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll get you hooked on a bait anytime you catch a big one on it.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Sean said he's had the snaps mess up on him as well on the jackhammers.
Really?
Yeah. So here's a little dipper, just to show you guys what the little dipper is. This is the Reaction Innovations Little Dipper, and it's a real affordable little 3-inch swim bait, and very versatile. You can put this on an open jig head. You can put on a chatterbait, put on a swim jig. It just it's a really good all around little swim bait. It's got a lot of luck on them. So what do you what kind of rod are you fishing on the chatterbaits? I mean, some guys like a composite and glass. Some guys like all graphite. Do you have a choice?
I've tried throwing both, but I'm just a regular, just graphite guy. I've tried throwing the glass, and to me, I couldn't get used to really leaning into them on it. Or, you know, if you got a composite or graphite or something, you can lean, and it seems like it seems like to me I have a lot better hookup ratio.
Yeah.
I like throwing a long rod on it, but I want it to have a solid backbone, but about 3/4 way up the rod, I want it to be kind of flimsy.
So what rod length are you typically using?
I use a 7.5 893 NRX. Loomis is what I like throwing.
Okay.
It's a pretty versatile rod for me because I got 3 or 4 of them, and I throw chatterbait, spinnerbait, topwater, crankbait. I mean, I throw about everything on that rod. So
yeah, and especially when you're fishing around wood and stuff, I think you need. I mean, I'd like to have a little more rod to get them away from that cover.
Yeah, well, that's like, especially the places I fish and stuff. I mean, you hook one, you kind of got to get them out. There ain't no fighting them. So I want something that's got a pretty good backbone to it. When I set the hook, I can rip them out.
Definitely. That goes for grass too.
Yeah, it's got enough tip on it too, where I can skip it or roll cast here and there and make accurate casts with it. So
yeah, and you want some tips so they can eat that bait too. You're not pulling them away, just like a crankbait. You want a little bit of tip to let them suck it in.
It seems like a lot of times when I get a bite, like on that thing, like down to Gunnersville or whatever on that rod, I'll watch my rod tip bend before I even feel the bite.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Definitely.
But that's just personal preference for me. I mean, everybody else probably, a lot of guys are probably different, but.
Yeah, I mean, I've been throwing probably 2 or 3 years ago. I was just throwing it on a 7-foot medium heavy rod.
Yep.
And then I've also had a 7-foot medium, like a Veritas, which is a little their powers are just a little bit heavier than what it says. So like a medium's kind of like in between a medium heavy.
Yep.
But then this last year or 2 years ago, I bought it was a 7'3". It's just a loose. I don't know if it's actually specified technique specific or whatever, but it's got that, just like you said, it's got some tip to it. It's a little bit longer rod, but when you load up on them, it's got some heat so you can eat that fish, and it's all graphite.
Yeah.
I think some guys take that stuff a little too far and overthink a lot of it. But me personally, I like the feel of graphite. And once you get used to your equipment, you know how to set the hook. You lose a few fish, you'll figure out what you need to do if you're paying attention and make that rod work for you. Just in my opinion,
Well, I'm about the same way. Like I said, I've tried them glass rods several times, on my traps and chatterbaits, and I couldn't get used to them. I would rather, I can set the hook on a trap and kind of, play them out, hit my button where I ain't got to worry about them surging or nothing too hard. But.
Yeah, definitely. So Dave's a G Loomis fan.
I am too.
And then Winning Edge Fishing says a 7'3" medium heavy Falcon rod for him. Well, guys, we'll probably wrap this up here shortly. You got any last minute questions here? Go ahead and put them out there and we'll get them answered. So you said your next tournament is going to be the Toyota Series, or are you fishing something in between now and then?
No, we got the Anglers Choice Classic back down at Gunnersville, the 18th and 19th of this month. So we'll be going back down there. Hopefully they're in the same area as they was when I was down there a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Has much changed down there other than I'm sure it's gotten a little bit warmer?
I think it's gotten quite a bit warmer, but they're pulling a lot more water too, from what I've been hearing, just from all the. I think they said they got like 6 inches of rain down there. So I'd say they've been pulling a lot more water than when I was down there.
Yeah, heck yeah. So when's the first BFL start?
I haven't even looked. They usually start end of April, I believe. Beginning of April. I think the first one here is at Wren Lake usually. I haven't even looked at the schedule, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it'll get here soon enough.
I'm telling you, I'm ready for it.
I know, man. Me too. This ice thing kind of screwed me up. I was fishing. I like to get out there at least once a week just to keep my sanity, and everything got locked up for like 3 weeks, and it was driving me nuts.
I'm glad I was back home. My wife was sending me pictures of all the snow and ice, and I ain't gonna complain about 34 degrees and raining.
No, and see, that's the problem. I wanted to go ice fishing because we don't really get a chance to go ice fishing that much around here, but it was like 10 degrees or -4 degrees. And
wasn't comfortable being outside.
Oh, I'm like, I want it, but I don't know if I want it that bad. I don't want to lose a finger or something,
I'm telling you. I know my dad was sending me pictures when I was at Gunnersville. Him and my little brother were catching bluegill on their pond out there. Ice fishing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did it. I went, I think it was last Saturday. It got up to like 30 degrees. So I crawled out there on the ice and I took a pickaxe and I punched a couple holes, and it took me 2 days, but I finally caught a fish on that second day, and man, I was happy. I just wanted to catch one fish, and it worked out for me. So
yeah, better not catching any.
Heck yeah. So everybody's saying thanks for coming on here and sharing your time with us. You got anything you want to say before you go, or?
No, man. I mean, it's just the biggest thing for me is everybody back home, and everybody supporting me. I couldn't do it without all the guys that are sponsoring me and helping me out, and my family, and you guys check out my Facebook page and Instagram page, and I'm actually getting out of my comfort zone. My wife, me and my wife started a YouTube channel. I'm gonna start doing a little filming and stuff. So bear with me. It may be junk at first, but we're gonna try to get it lined out.
Dude, that's how it is, man. I'm still learning stuff all the time. I've been doing it for a little bit, and it's cool, and your little one's gonna appreciate that too, because you're always gonna have once you get a couple videos out there, they're there forever.
Oh yeah, sure.
Your family can follow you out on the water and stuff. So what's gonna be? Do you have a name yet for the channel?
It's just gonna be Brennon McCord Fishing, I think.
Okay.
So we're just gonna kind of keep simple. I'm just gonna have a couple GoPros and stuff rolling throughout the day, and just kind of edit here and there and make a couple videos together, and may do some like tournament recaps and stuff like that, or there ain't no tournaments going on, may go over to like a strip pit or a pyramid or somewhere like that, just do like a little fun filming deal.
Yeah, it's fun. I know Hayden Newberry. I don't know if you know him, but he's
I've heard that name before.
Yeah, he's fishing some of the Toyota series he has for a couple years, and he does some videos on his channel, and just he'll do like a practice video, and then he'll do a tournament recap. And
that's what I'm kind of leaning towards doing. I'm just gonna I'll probably get them edited and stuff when I get home from the tournament.
Yeah. Well, if you got any questions about anything, don't hesitate to shoot me a text, man.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll have to get in the boat one day together.
Man, I'd love to, dude. I really would. I like fishing with different people from the area, and you learn stuff and you get to meet new friends and stuff. Casey Forrester wants, he has a question. Any predictions for the Angler's Choice Championship as far as the weight?
Man, that's a hard one just because all the rain and stuff they're getting. But I would say I'm going to predict probably 22 pounds a day. Have a pretty good shot.
Yeah,
I would say. I don't think the weights are there. I was talking to some of the locals, and I was down there last time, like tackle shops and stuff, and like they're talking the weights just aren't there like they used to be. There's so much fishing pressure and stuff like that. They said somebody will break a 30-pound bag every now and then, but it ain't like it was whenever they first started going down there 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, and it might be, those lakes go in cycles just like any other lake. Kentucky Lake is notoriously in a downward trend, and Gunnersville is too. So it's just, they can't withstand that pressure forever. They're going to have to go in a downward trend.
No, heck no. I mean, it's, everybody says the carp deal, which I agree that the carp ain't helping nothing. But like, I talked to a couple guys that fish down there in Kentucky all the time, and they're saying, tournament pressure is what they think really killed that place.
Yep. I've heard that recently. Just a lot of dead fish.
It's a matter of time before they get into Pickwick and then work their way down to Gunnersville.
Yeah, I was fishing Chick like 4 years ago. I made the regional down there, and we were out in the channel, and the guy I was fishing out of the back of the boat, and we were fishing these bluff walls, and I was throwing a swim jig, slow rolling a swim jig out there really, really deep because I was kind of getting front ended, so that's the only side of the boat I had, and I had this as my bait got closer to the top of the water, and I could start seeing it. There was this huge head coming up behind my swim jig.
Yeah,
and it was a silver carp. It was about a 30-pounder.
Yeah,
that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
My buddy lives down there, and he said that he's had several buddies that sent him videos of up the river towards the dam of a bunch of silver carp up there. Not a bunch, but they're starting to see them. So I'm sure if they're seeing them, there's several in there.
Yeah, man, I hate to hear that, but it's just nature, man. Nature's gonna spread.
Yeah, I mean, it'll run its course, and hopefully, they'll thin out and fishing will get good again, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right, guys, we're going to jump off here. Go check out Brennon's Facebook and Instagram, and look for that new fresh YouTube channel. It's going to be coming down the pipe here real soon. So, man, thanks for jumping on here, dude. Like I said earlier, you got any questions, and if you get into the editing process, let me know. Good luck out there in the tournaments, and yeah, if you want to get together sometime, and I can show you what I know as far as editing, and we can just go out and have a good time out on the lake. So
that sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and so if you need anything, give me a shout too. So,
all right, man. We'll talk to you later then.
All right, buddy. Thank you. See you guys.
See ya. All right, guys. That was fun, man. It's it's always cool to meet new people. Brennon lives probably about an hour 15 minutes away from me. And he fishes kind of up in that area that I never get to. I usually stop over there around Lake of Egypt, and I never make it up north to Wren. And I want to get up there because it's a little bit different. It's not a grass lake, which most of the stuff I've been fishing is grass. It's just kind of a rock power fishing, crankbait, spinnerbait, all that stuff. So hopefully someday we'll get together and go up there and putt around out there. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you coming on here. Hit that thumbs up if you have not. Next week we'll probably be back up at Greg's. I don't have a guest lined up for next week. I'm actually working on a couple guests. I don't have anything dialed in yet, so I won't really make an announcement. Got a couple videos coming out this week. Trying to think of what I've got coming out. I have a fishing video, actually, because I was able to get out in the water with Ron last Thursday, and we did some video shoots out there on Lake of Egypt. So have some fresh on the water content. And then we got a couple boat review stuff coming up. I've got what else do I got? I don't know. I can't remember. I got a lot of stuff. And I'm going to Lake of the Ozarks this week to fish the Toyota Owners, not Toyota Owners tournament, but the Toyota series. And I'm looking forward to that, man. I haven't fished a bigger tournament in quite a while, so that's going to be nice to get out there. I'm just kind of checking these comments real quick before we jump off here. Sleep at the Real says he is planning on getting up in your area this summer. Can go fishing with me, but has to be crappie fishing. Hey, dude, you let me know, and I'll gladly jump in the boat with you and go catch some crappie. Go check out Sleep at the Real too, man. He does a really good live stream. Fortunately, it's usually on the same nights as our live stream, but great crappie channel. Really good with that live scope stuff. If you guys are into crappie, definitely go check that out. There's a lot to learn over there. Yeah, Gary, you're right. I'm going to need it. It's really, really tough right now. Like I said earlier, I talked to Mike Marfell. He's been down there since Saturday, and he sent me a text yesterday and said he didn't even get a bite. And I've talked to several people down there. There's a huge shad kill. There's gizzard shad everywhere. Water temps are like 36 degrees. And it's just tough. If you guys watched Lawson Hibden was on here last week, and that's exactly what he predicted. He said it'd be really, really tough for a couple weeks before it started kind of coming to life. And man, my plan is to throw a finesse jig, shaky head, and a jerk bait. I think I'm really just going to keep it simple. I'm going to be fishing 2 days guaranteed, and then they think they take the top 10 to fish that final day. So I really, it's going to be hard to not take a bunch of rods and get spun out, but I think I'm just going to keep it really, really simple. I got a lot of confidence in a shaky head right now, and a finesse jig and a jerk bait. I'll probably throw an A-rig a little bit. And I'm really thinking that's it. You know, maybe 5 rods. Just keep it really, really simple. Just keep my bait wet and just stay focused. I'm just going to be counting rocks, man. Just counting rocks as slow as possible. So good luck. Thanks, Phil. Good luck to you, Phil, man. I hope you get your electronics lined out. I'm sure it's something simple. But that's all I got, guys. Appreciate the support. And me and Greg will see you next week. Peace.